I'm Wendy Garflip from United Neighbors, and this is a special edition of Inside Fall River. We are on remote location with Jack Weldon, Executive Director, and Kristen Dutra, Clinical Program Director of Community-Based Services at St. Vincent's. Welcome, Kristen and Jack. Good to have you with us. So, St. Vincent's has been part of this community for a very long time. I understand 125 years. Tell me a little bit about its history and how it became what it is today.
Well, St. Vincent's was founded in 1885 as an orphanage by the Diocese of Fall River and the Sisters of Mercy. And in the 125 years, it has evolved into many different things, always focused on services for children and families, and children and families who are experiencing difficulty being a family. So today, we're a much different organization than we were even 5 years ago. The occasions that we have to have children living here are much fewer, much shorter in length of stay, and most of our services are provided now in the community. The Fall River and New Bedford and Southeast region communities geographically, and in families' homes within the community, as those are needed. In fact, half of our client population receive services not based at St. Vincent's, but within the community. Our residential services are very small. We still maintain a residential school where kids live here and go to school here. We also have a day school where kids live within the community and are transported here to attend our school on campus. We have a group home program. We have one group home in the community in Fall River, and we have an intensive group home program which is based on our campus here. And we also provide acute services, which are meant to be diversion from inpatient hospitalization when children are experiencing acute difficulties of one kind or another. So they come here instead of going to the hospital, and we work with them and their families to help them to stabilize whatever the issue is within their family, and then return them home as quickly as possible. And that's our largest population. And those children are here in 3 different levels of care, usually for 14 days or less. We see about 400 children and families at any given time each day, and the array of services is really quite broad.
Okay, I was very taken with your mission statement when I received your literature. It says, giving children and families in need what they need most. To me, that seems like the perfect combination of heart and services that you provide. So can you talk a little bit to, or Kristen, you might want to answer this as well, what kind of issues do people present with when they come here? What is the range of issues that you take care of here at St. Vincent's?
The children and the families that we see here at St. Vincent's have experienced multiple traumas. We treat children with a variety of complex trauma, children who've experienced physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, children who have experienced parental substance abuse. So we're treating not just the child, but we're also treating the families while they're here.
And how do you determine what program the kids go into, and how many kids do you have involved, and what are the ages? So that's sort of multi-level there.
The kids who reside within our residential programs are referred through one of the state agencies, through the Department of Children and Families, some through the Department of Mental Health. Within our residential education program, some of the kids are referred by their school district as well. Kids within our acute services, those kids who are here for short-term stays, are usually referred through crisis centers or through hospital step-downs. And then,
can you explain what a step-down is, please?
Sure. When a child has had a psychiatric hospital stay, sometimes before the child goes home, they want an intermediate step. So they want to step them down to a less restrictive level of service for a very short period of time to ensure their stability.
Like someone with an orthopedic surgery would go to a rehab before they would go back home.
That, yes. Yes, so we can ensure that the child is stable and that they're going to be successful once they're able to go home.
Great. Great.
All of our services are mission driven. And the way that kids and families get here is varied depending on what their situation is. And it can go from being referred by a court, being referred by a state agency, or a parent picking up the phone and calling our clinic and requesting services. And we address a whole range of child and family difficulties. Some families are affected by trauma of one kind or another and are in crisis, and others are having developmental or adjustment difficulties that just need help to get to the next step with. So it varies by child and by family.
It seems that you've come a long way from the image of the Dickens orphanage in the 1800s to a place where there's a tremendous amount of love and respect and hope for the clients that you're dealing with and the families that you're dealing with. A couple of other things that really resonated with me is that you mentioned that your care is compassionate care to restore relationships and support family permanence. This idea that you look not just at the child that comes to you, but the entire family is relatively new in our healthcare system. Can you talk a little bit about how you arrived at that and why that's important to you and how you carry that through here at St. Vincent's?
I think within Massachusetts and actually across the nation, how child welfare services and behavioral health services are delivered has changed dramatically, and in fact they've become quite well integrated. So for us, it has taken a change where the state agencies don't, as a knee-jerk response, remove children from homes. Research has shown that children do better when they're in a family, whether that's their own biological family or extended family, foster family, or adoptive family. They do better when they're within families than within an institution, no matter how compassionate or well received the institution is. And so we see ourselves as a place along the way helping families to remain intact, to have a permanent relationship with one another, and one that is characterized by stability and permanence.
Sounds great. When you talk about current services being community-based, can you explain what that means to us?
We started our community-based services with our group home program. As our programs have shifted and we've decreased the number of kids that we're serving in residential, we decided to implement new and different services to be able to meet the needs of the community, which are ever changing. That started in 2009 with the inception of the Children's Behavioral Health Initiative, and we currently provide in-home therapy services and therapeutic mentoring, and that's a Mass Health initiative.
Can you explain a little bit what Children's Behavioral Health Services are? Yeah.
The Children's Behavioral Health Services are an array of services throughout communities in Massachusetts that are provided to families who are receiving Mass Health. And those services are meant to be able to provide behavioral intervention, behavioral and mental health intervention early enough so that kids aren't requiring out-of-home placement and hospital stays.
Well, this certainly is a hot topic with mental health issues, and being able to do that intervention. You know, everywhere in the health world we talk about prevention and intervention, and it seems that you're on the cutting edge of that now. So has this been successful for you, this community-based programming? It's
been very successful, and it seems like we've been able to build additional programming from one. So we started with the group home, expanded to the Children's Behavioral Health Initiative, and then 2 years ago opened our mental health clinic. We're serving over 300 clients, children and families within the mental health clinic, providing individual therapy, family therapy, the in-home therapy components through the Children's Behavioral Health Initiative as well. We maintain a complement of 14 clinicians, one full-time psychiatrist who's board certified in child and adolescent psychiatry. And I think the premise is to we want to continue to provide family systems treatment for the children and families. So
What does that mean, family systems treatment?
Within the clinic, we are not just treating kids. Our primary focus is treating children and adolescents who've experienced trauma, but we will also provide individual therapy services for the parents or caretakers of those children so that we're able to treat the whole family. It's very hard to just treat a child and not treat the whole family system in order to get a better outcome.
That sounds great. And how can families access help from St. Vincent's if they feel they need it, or if they just want to talk to somebody to find out where they can get the best care for their children?
Our services, some of our services are a closed referral through the Department of Children and Families or another state agency, but our Children's Behavioral Health Initiative services, our mental health clinic can be accessed certainly by any parent. They can call our main number at 508-679-8511.
Say it again slower.
508-679-8511 and ask for our intake coordinator, Allison Garside, and she's able to complete the referral with the families.
If I could add to what
Please,
Kristen
Dan.
has been saying, service delivery in Massachusetts and across the country actually, and within St. Vincent's, has changed in another way as well. It used to be that if a child or a family required the services of a place like St. Vincent's, they came into a program that was predefined, and that it was the job of the child and the family to fit into the program. What's changed is that services are, in the first place, not isolated one from another, so it isn't as though you have this silo of service, another silo of service, and the service delivery is really defined by the specific and individualized needs of the child and the family. And it's been a huge shift for service providers like St. Vincent's, where we've moved from defining what a program parameter is, as opposed to learning what a family or a child needs specifically and then responding to that. And I think that is one of the things that has led to the community-based delivery of services. It just makes more sense to meet families and children where they are, where they're familiar, and where they would be familiar making changes in their lives. And the services necessarily have to be responses to their individualized needs. So how we interact with one child and family differs from how we would interact with another child and family based on their individualized needs. And it's really, I think, a critical piece. The other difference is that there's a national trend now around wraparound services. And what that means is literally wrapping a team of folks, including behavioral health professionals, child welfare folks, family friends, a minister, a coach, anybody that is meaningful or who the family sees as a helpful individual, as a team to help the family with whatever the issue is, if it's a crisis or it's an adjustment, a piece or a behavioral piece that needs to be addressed. That team then works with the child and family again in a very individualized way to address whatever the issue is. So if the child needs to move from one level of care to another, it isn't in isolation. What came before and what comes after and what's happening in the moment is all very much differently integrated than it used to be.
And I imagine that families love the fact that by working with people in a team, there's respect for their cultural differences, there's understanding of the dynamics of their family, of where they might be coming from, whatever family dynamics are contributing or not contributing, that it seems such a holistic and warm way of dealing with children that it's very, very impressive. So I know we're on 50 acres here, and I hope we'll get a chance to do some filming on your campus, and I know there's 13 buildings. So how many families and children do you service? Approximately.
Currently we service a little over 400 families in the various levels of care, and we have about 45 children ranging in age from 4 to about 19 in the various levels of care, both on this campus and our one group home in the community.
Sounds good. Tell me a little bit about how you're funding. This has to come from somewhere. It's beautiful and cutting edge, so how does your funding come in?
It varies by program and service, so we get a good deal of our funding from state agencies for the placement programs, the residential and congregate care program. For our acute services, largely they're paid for through insurance companies, and a large payer within the insurance companies is Medicaid, Mass Health, and our outpatient clinic is funded through insurance companies as well.
And what age children do you work with?
Again, it depends on the program, but by and large, from age 4 to age 21.
And what's the average stay that a child has, or an average connection to St. Vincent's that they have?
Again, it depends on the program. In the outpatient clinic, it's very short-term, addressing the specific needs of each child and family, and when that's completed, they move on. And it's usually determined as a number of sessions, not a number of months. Mm-hmm. And then how the sessions are delivered really is in response to what the child or family needs. The residential programs, the acute program is largely 14 days or less, and sometimes it's a little bit longer than that, depending on what the next step is and whether that can be put firmly in place within that time frame. And the residential education and congregate care programs are several months in duration for congregate care, and for the school programs a little longer than that.
So there's been a lot going on in our community that has shifted the discussion to mental health and how we deal with mental health and things like that. So make your best case. Why should families seek out services, and when should families seek out services of a place like St. Vincent's?
For me, it revolves around issues of trust and hope and stability. And I think those three things apply to individuals, and they apply to families as well. And I think one of the components of our mission is really to help children who have had some breach of trust or lack of hope, or see themselves as bumping into hindrances to their well-being, in such a way that we can help them with that and help them over a hurdle, restoring trust and in themselves, in their families, and within their place in the world.
That was a lovely way of putting it. That whole idea of helping children gain trust, just coming from the educational world, we know that that is one of the cornerstones of being able to connect with kids, is being able to develop some kind of trust with them. So clearly you guys are doing what needs to be done at the right time. So let's move on a little bit to upcoming events. I hear you have something very exciting that's happening very shortly.
We have two events, actually. We have an annual fundraiser on the Battleship, Massachusetts. This will be our 5th year. It's being held on June 21st, Friday evening this year. Begins at 6 in the evening. We have hors d'oeuvres and dinner. We have a range of local restaurants who contribute and donate their dishes for the meal. And we have dancing. The tickets are $100 per person, and it's turned out to be a wonderful evening that has grown each year. So we anticipate about 400 people on the ship this year. In addition, we have...
Before you move on for that, if you'd like a ticket for that event, how can you procure one?
You can call our development director, Melissa Dick. Her number is area code 508-679-8511.
Say it one more time.
508-679-8511.
Great.
And the funds from that support our Life Skills program, which is a program we've developed for older youth who need vocational training and other skill development as they move from care to their place in the community, whatever that is.
Can you give me some examples of life skills that are taught here? What are some of the things kids learn?
We have youth who, basic life skills, opening a bank account, how to open a bank account, maintaining a bank account, driver's education classes, road lessons, taking kids to, ultimately get their license, helping them with that, job coaching. Our life skills coordinator, Rochelle Foley, has developed a number of connections with companies in the community so that youth are able to get employment, initially through an internship and with a job coach from St. Vincent's. And for a number of them, that's resulted in independent employment with that agency. So there are a number of different stores, retailers, restaurants in the community that we have relationships with, and they'll hire our youth here to be able to work there for a period of time.
I think that life skills is so important. We had a young intern at our office, and he got his first paycheck, and he came to me and he said, "I thought I was getting paid." I said, "Well, I did pay you. This is your paycheck." He said, "But where's the money?" He had no idea at 16 years old how to go to a bank and set up a bank account and cash that check. And sometimes we just assume that everybody gets this at some point in time in their life. So if a organization or a business would like to potentially have an intern or employ a student from St. Vincent's, is there a way that they can connect to that?
They can call our main number, which 508-679-8511, and they can ask to speak with our life skills coordinator, Rochelle Foley.
And it sounds like a wonderful opportunity to be able to put kids into the community benefits, and certainly the students benefit as well.
Some of the youth that we work with don't have viable families or extended families to help them make the transition from school and being a student to becoming independent and being viable on their own. And so we help through this program to fill some of those gaps and to do, in the example that you were using, that kind of thing. Help them to understand if you want to live in this way, you need to earn this amount of money, and here are the ways that you can do that. And other ways so that they can make connections in the community, make connections with adults that are sustaining, and that will be more long-term than short-term, so that when they leave here, they have resources that they can identify and use effectively.
Sounds like a great program. So we mentioned the St. Vincent's Summer Celebration, which is on June 21st at the Battleship. Tickets are available by calling the office. There's a silent auction, a cocktail reception, dinner, music and dancing. Great event to help support. But I know you have something else coming up in August. You want to talk a little bit about that?
In August, we have a motorcycle run. This year will be our 8th year sponsoring this event, and it is a wonderful event beginning here at St. Vincent's, and the riders go around Dartmouth and Fall River and along the waterfront, and then return here for a cookout. At both events, we have a silent auction and a live auction, and we have a lot of donated items that people can bid on and take home with them.
Sounds great. How many bikes actually participate?
The last year we had about 300.
Wow, that must be something to see. Yeah. 300 bikes riding through Fall River. And the money also goes to the Life Skill program, or does it go somewhere else?
Not to the Life Skills program, but to other programming needs for the kids. It goes directly to programming for the kids.
So how can the community support St. Vincent's? What do you expect from the community? What can you help ask from the community?
I think to see St. Vincent's as a resource for the community and within the community. We've been providing services for over 125 years, and also to support us financially in any way that they can. We rely more and more on private funding and donors to fill some of the service gaps, even though we get money from the state to provide services. There are a lot of things that aren't covered within that rate that are best practice and values that we have in terms of how kids should be treated.
Okay, so we can help St. Vincent's by attending their summer celebration on June 21st at the Battleship. Tickets available through the main number, and you can find them online. What's the web address here for St. Vincent's?
www.stvincentshome, Saint spelled out, S-A-I-N-T, vincentshome.org.
www.saintvncentshome.org. You can also participate on the motorcycle run on August 18th, and you can also talk to the outreach coordinator,
Life skills
coordinator, if your business or your organization is interested in finding out about the potential of having a student work as an intern and morph into a paying job, we hope, at some point in time. So we're getting close to the end of our broadcast. Any last words that you'd like to tell us about the importance of St. Vincent's, the work you're doing, anything that's happening here?
I think just that St. Vincent's has enjoyed the role that it's had within the community for the length of time that it's been here. And we like to think that we've provided a valuable service, many valuable services, and have helped kids and families be strong and effective with one another.
We all hope that our children and our families never experience trauma, but it is reassuring and comforting to know that if that does happen, we have some place right here in Fall River to turn, a place that provides families in need with what they need and offers family-centered, compassionate care, helping to restore relationships and support family permanence. Those are all wonderful, wonderful things to be able to turn to in the hour of need, and knowing that you're here is the most reassuring thing for people who live in this area. I know you service Fall River. Do you service the greater Fall River area? What is your catchment area?
The southeast region, so from Taunton, Attleboro down to the Cape, and everything in between, Fall River and New Bedford greater areas.
So I urge you, viewers, to reach out and help support this institution that's been here for 125 years, that's providing support and help in a courageous and heartfelt way to our families in need right here in our community. I want to thank John Weldon, the Executive Director of St. Vincent's, and Kristen Dutra, who's the Clinical Program Director of Community-Based Services, for being with us today. It's been an interesting time to learn about St. Vincent's and to be on this beautiful campus. So I'm Wendy Garflip from United Neighbors, and this is a special edition of Inside Fall River.